In our second episode, we'll be discussing more foundations of our kitchen equipment. This time we'll be discussing pots, pans, baking sheets, baking pans, strainers, and mixing bowls. Pots and pans. If you're gonna cook, you're gonna need these. And while you don't necessarily need an entire set, I would go ahead and recommend purchasing a bundle package because it's gonna be cheaper in the long run than buying pieces individually as you go. Also, they'll match up as a set, which will make them so much easier for storage. Most cookware has about 4 choices. You've got your stainless steel, you've got your aluminum, which are what you see in everything, your copper, and your cast iron. More than 50% of the cookware out there these days is aluminum based. The majority of what I cook on is aluminum. It's easy for day-to-day use. It can scratch fairly easy. You will likely have to replace it. It won't be lifelong. I do have a stainless steel pan, which I use for searing, specifically fishes and other things. Sadly, I can't tell you too much about copper other than it tends to be pricey and I have yet to invest in something like that. A couple things you want to look for, obviously, when you're looking to purchase is price, durability. Does it scratch? Do you have to polish it, season it? Heat conductivity. The better the heat conductivity, the more evenly your foods are going to cook, which means it's also going to react to temperatures faster, whether up or down. So that can make cooking a lot easier. And like your knives, this is an investment. So a good rule of thumb is to buy the best set that you can afford. If you take care of your pots and pans, even the aluminum ones, they'll last a very long time, and your cast iron can last a lifetime. Pots and pans, you can go your pastas, you can get woks, you can have 5 different styles of pots. You can even go the fancier Le Creuset. I splurged on one of those that I use for things like soups and gumbos, but they're not a necessity. Even though later on you will likely find as you cook, you can use them almost daily if you wanted to. I can't say enough on how awesome my cast iron set is. I inherited them as said, and I cook every bit of meat on them because the flavors stick to the pan, naturally season it for the next type of meat I cook. And for my day-to-day, I have a Calphalon set that I actually just invested in on one of the sales at Target, and it was 50% off, and it is these nice new stackable ones, which you'll see right up there in the picture, which makes it very easy for storage versus having to buy some of the racks or things like that, or simply setting the pans in themselves, which can then scratch them, especially if they're of the aluminum variety. Baking dishes and cookie sheets. While you might not want to start baking if you're new to cooking, since it can be incredibly frustrating and time consuming due to the necessity of following the directions of the recipe to a T, you're going to want to at least have 1 or 2 baking sheets and 1 or 2 baking dishes in your arsenal. A nice glass baking dish like this will cover almost any sort of casserole, a lot of pasta dishes, and a ton of other things you can think of. You throw it in the oven, you bring it out, take your serving, it's got a nice little lid, you can throw it back in after it cools, and it's already got your storage, so you don't have to worry about dirtying multiple dishes. Baking sheets, same sort of thing. Very easy to keep these things clean and scratch proof by just putting on some foil or parchment paper. You'll notice they'll last a very long time, and if you're going to do anything like roasted vegetables or cooking home fries or even baking fish or chicken, you're going to need a few cookie sheets. They're really cheap, so just get yourself a bundle of 3 different sizes. You'll find that'll be easiest, and you'll thank me later. Mixing bowls. Whether you go for ceramic or steel or even glass, total personal preference. I like the steel ones simply because they can chill really quick, whether you put them in the freezer before you start mixing or you're finished with your mixing and then throw them into the fridge. They get coolest fastest. The problem is anything that needs to be heated up, you'll have to transfer into another bowl. This is where glass can come in handy. Ceramic definitely, obviously, are the prettiest of the bunch, but they chip really easy. And in fact, even these mixing bowls that I have, I really don't use them other than being on my countertop, and they have fruit in them because I've chipped the entire rest of the set, unfortunately. A lot of the mixing bowls now, if you purchase a little better quality ones, they will have, like you see on the inside here, they will have your measurements, so it makes it really easy when you're mixing. And they also come with these nice little lids. So again, it prevents you from having to purchase multiple items that can accommodate the exact same thing.